All right, all right. Well, let's get this show on the road. Let's make it happen. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to. I meant to put my guys in the background. You guys, welcome to our show. Welcome to Secrets of the Mind of a Man, where we talk about how men think when it comes to dating, relationships, and love. I'm your man KTJ, and we're excited about the show tonight. I got my guys who are on to talk about our topic is he in love with you? 10 signs he's falling in love. And I'm sure the fellas, we going to get into it. We're going to talk about, falling in love and not falling in love. If is he in love with you? And we're going to tell you if he is not in love with you. We're going to talk about it. We're going to have our call-in show coming on. So you guys come on in the house. As you're coming in, do me a favor. I would love to know where you guys are watching from. Drop in the chat where you are watching this show from. We just want y'all to go ahead and rep your city. So let us know where you guys are watching the show from. And we'll be glad to have you out here with us. So yes. Let us know where you guys are watching the show from. All right, I got a little feedback coming. All right, so let's go ahead and bring in our guys. Yes, gentlemen, welcome to the show. I'm excited about this show. I'm excited to have these opportunities just to share more, just thoughts on dating, relationships, and love as we do, and this is something, fellas, that, generally men don't talk about dating. Men don't talk about love. Men don't want to talk about marriage. Men don't want to talk about emotions.
We don't talk about nothing.
We don't want to talk about nothing, right? But see, I'm pulling the guys up, right? Because I know that a man really will talk about it because men actually have thoughts about it.
Oh, deep.
Even though they don't normally talk about it, the men always have thoughts about it. So let me introduce everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Dr. John L. Mack. Dr. Mack, tell the folks more about who you are. I know who you are, but I want the folks to hear who you are. And, we're going to push on from there.
Well, I'm Dr. John L. Mack. The L stands for legacy, and legacy means letting excellence guide and control you. I'm the CEO and founder of GPS, Get Published Successfully. So everybody has a book in them that somebody wants to read. Anybody can write a book with today's technology, but nobody, and I mean nobody, can read a book that's never been published or written. So I help people to be able to extract that story out of them. And I've been married for 42 years. So I think I got a little something to say about relationships, and we're going to unpack that tonight. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My man, we're going to have a good conversation tonight. And I got my man, Mike. Mike, what's your last name?
Moss, M-O-S-S.
That's right, Mike Moss.
Big Mike.
Yes, sir. He's keeping all the big brothers fresh.
There you go.
So tell them more about who you are, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mike Moss. I am the owner of Big Man Culture. So we have our own clothing line, not only just big men, but specifically for big men in certain ways. And when I say that, meaning that we actually do custom suit clothing. We actually have our own cologne line that dropped out about 2 or 3 months ago. But the main thing is we started off styling guys, and we really started talking about appearance and how appearance actually formulates people's opinions about you from the start. So one of our main things that our goals is to make sure that every experience is a big experience. So that's one of the things that I do, and I'm very passionate about. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have lived here in Atlanta for about 19 years. So I've seen everything happen here. So I've been able to expand in this culture and expand in different arenas. But I also hear one of the probably most greatest feats that I ever had, or not feat, but actually one of the best things that I've ever done is met my wife here 14 years ago in October. So, yeah, so talk about relationships. I mean, hey, I wasn't always married here. I also had other relationships, and I can talk about the good, bad, and ugly. But yeah, I'm definitely glad to be here. We're gonna have some fun tonight, and hopefully we can share something with you that makes sense for you and your future down the line.
All right, my man.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for being here.
for sure.
All right, so look, before we get into it, I'm gonna see if I got a short video here that I wanna I wanna kind of get it out here and get you guys' thoughts on this video. Let me see. Let me make sure I got it going good. All righty. I want to make sure you guys can hear it. Can y'all hear this?
It's a little low, but we can hear it.
All right, I'm gonna try it. All right, let me see if I can. Make sure I can get it. What can I do to make it louder? All right, it's all the way up there. It's all the way up here. All right. I wanna pick it up right about.
Especially a woman, she don't want
Yeah, that's better.
Is that good?
Yeah.
You have your girlfriend or your wife call you from another room, and she's like, "Sweetie," and then like immediately you go, your stomach just goes, "Oh, what does she want? Oh, this is gonna suck. I know it. It's not gonna be good.
Patrice O'Neal.
Never good.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hear what happened to me today?" You'd be like, "Oh, not really." I always make my girlfriend tell me the end of any story she get ready to tell me first before I invest in the whole. I'd be like, "Shut up! What's the end of the story?" Like, somebody got shot. All right, go ahead. Try to tell the story. Starts off wrong all the time. You know my friend Diane, right? And here's why I mess up. I go, nah, I don't know Diane. You know Diane. Now I gotta tell you an hour and a half side story. Because I can't keep going with the story till you know who Diane is. Remember 3 years ago I made you go to a party that you didn't want to go to? Or was it 2 years ago? Wait a minute, was it 2 years ago I made you go, Diane? No, it was 3 years ago I made you go. And remember I introduced you to a bunch of women you didn't care about? One of them was Diane. You remember now? Don't do this. Yeah, I remember. You don't remember. So I can tell the story faster. Why don't you tell the story faster? Who got shot? Did Diane get shot? She didn't get shot. Did she shoot somebody? She didn't shoot. Why'd you say Diane? She don't like guns.
She don't like guns.
Finish the story. Who got shot? Never mind now. You won't let me tell the story. I won't tell the story. So I won't finish because you won't let me tell it with Diane, my friend who doesn't like guns and story. Hey, I'm sorry, ladies. That's not y'all. That's some other ladies that's not in here. I don't even know what women that could possibly be. You want to know how to, because man, it's hard for us to love you and like you at the same time. It is what it is. Once a man loves you, he no longer likes you usually. So I'm going to give you some advice, ladies, on how to keep your man liking you once he loves you, if that's possible. This is what I think. Men want to be alone, but we don't want to be by ourselves. Does that make sense at all? Meaning, really, look at this guy looking at his wife like, not you, sweetie, but sort of you, kinda. somewhere, like in the dwelling, just not here, like just like around the corner in the vents. You can sit in the vent. I don't care if you want to watch me. Anywhere, but just not in front of me. Trying to be my friend. What you doing? What you doing? Watching baseball? Why you watching baseball by yourself? How come you didn't get me up? You snuck out of bed. Why'd you didn't get me up? I want to watch baseball with you. What you doing? Why you down there by yourself? Move over. Move your leg off that ottoman where it's comfortable so I can sit next to you and wrap my leg around your leg and some weird I love you high fine. Move over. Give me your arm. Give me your arm. Give it to me. Let me give it. Come here. Give me a kiss. Mean it. Mean the kiss. You love me? Say it. Say it. Mean it. What you doing? What you eating? A hamburger? You shouldn't be eating a hamburger at 11. It's too early to eat a hamburger. Let me go make you a better sandwich, a turkey sandwich on 47-grain bread with no mayonnaise and bean sprouts. Tastes like rat turds and wigs. Better try a sandwich, you know what? Ain't that better? Why is the TV so loud? Turn it down. Ain't that better? Can't hear the TV, got a dry sandwich, you know what? Ain't that better? Why is it so cold in here? Turn it. Why is the ceiling fan and the air conditioner? Turn it off. Ain't that better? Sweating, wrapped up into a hot vine, can't hear the TV, got a dry sandwich. Ain't that better? Why is it so dark in here? Ain't that better? See the TV, can't hear it. Hey, I gotta go, man. Y'all take care, man. Thank you very much.
All right. So that was our intro. I'm gonna get slapped by Facebook for running that, but they be all right. So my point in that is to kind of talk about like the differences of how men, how women, see dating, see love, see relationships, and hold it, my joint's still playing. So yeah, so Dr. John Mack, you've been married for 40 plus years. Share your thoughts about this, like just your overall thoughts on this topic tonight. We talking about how is he in love with you? There's somebody, Dr. John Mack, that's trying to figure out this guy who's in my life. I don't know if he really wants me or not. Is he into me? Is he not into me? Share your thoughts, my brother.
Well, I think that ultimately communication is the foundation, and if you don't have if communication isn't a two-way street, if it's not reciprocal, then you're really just wasting your time, and you find yourself looking at so many different dynamics. But the bottom line is, do you understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, and does she understand those words, and do you understand what she's saying? And I think all too often people are just so caught up in trying to, when I say people, I'm talking about the couple, that dynamic duo, as they are doing that conversational mode. Are they just waiting for the other person to finish speaking so they can speak? Or are they actively listening? Do they care what's being said? And are they listening to understand? And ultimately, I think that we, over time, you got that honeymoon stage. You got that moneymoon stage where you're just beginning, and you can't do no wrong. I mean, your eyes could be in the back of your. It doesn't matter. You are wonderful. You walk on water. But once that's over, once the it's time now to go into a real life stage relationship. Is the communication real? Do you have friendship, fellowship before relationship? And I think that all too often we get caught up into having a relationship, and relationship means sex. And then past that, what is there? After 42 years, the conversation is more important than the elevation. And you'll catch that on the way home.
Okay.
Because you understand, and you can survive off of, if the communication's good enough. If you're friends, then you can deal with everything and anything. So that's my take on it, and we're gonna chop it up as to whether or not he really is in love with you, or if he's liking you, or if he's just tolerating you. Because if he doesn't celebrate you, he's just tolerating you. Y'all will catch that on the way home.
Love it, love it, love it. Big Mike.
Hey man, look, I'm over here writing notes. Okay, communication and element. Okay, I got you, bro. Wow.
What's your thoughts on the topic? Your overall thoughts on this topic? Is he in love with you? We got 10 signs he's falling in love. Talk to us about your overall thoughts about how men think about love, how you maybe think about love, all of that.
Yeah, man. So for me, I think it's based upon the trust factor that comes about it too. And so when I say trust, like us as men, we are very skeptical about being vulnerable with our mates, with our friends, whoever it may be. It doesn't necessarily have to be a wife or whatever the case may be. I can speak from my perspective to say that sometimes it's still hard. And again, this is year 14 for me, but I think it's because we're macho guys, and hey, we're taught to be hey, you from the railroad tracks, like get this thing rolling. But a lot of times, man, it's hard to say, I really love you because of not just what you do, but just who you are. And I'm not the cliche guy that says the guy's supposed to say, "Oh, you complete me," or "woman for." That's bull, man. Because here's the thing: at the end of the day, like Coach, like Doc said, man, is when you get to that honeymoon stage, man, skip all of that. Let's get to the real. And the real is, okay, can you deal with me? Can you grow through life with me? Can I deal with your faults and you deal with my flaws, and we still are able to coexist? That's one of the things and key things that I keep real with a lot of people who are either thinking about moving forward in relationships, thinking about moving forward in marriages. Man, skip all the other stuff that comes out of the old soap operas and the romance books, man. Like, it is, can you deal with me? So when you can deal with that person and every flaw that they have, good, bad, family members, friends that you don't even like, can you deal with them for the sake of, I love you, I'll do everything I can to be a part of your life? Man, that's easy work, man. And so I digress to say the thing for me is, focusing on that communication piece, but then also just being honest, being real with each other. And I think that's when when you can get to that point, that's when I believe the love part comes into it, and it comes into play. Yeah.
Fact. Yeah. I definitely believe that. I think, I think you guys, I think we've been on, it's a journey, right? And I think a lot of us were influenced by Walt Disney, right? Walt Disney told.
What you talking about?
I kind of got a feeling know what this is.
You know what I mean? Like Walt Disney, for really specifically talk about like for women, right? Walt Disney told them that one day the prince and offer you his hand in marriage. He's gonna skip over all those other women and find you, and change your life. Yeah. And so a lot of young girls held on to that thought that one day some man is gonna sweep in here and change my life, right? Yeah. But they didn't know that all the other girls were told the same thing. Right?
True.
And how many princes are there? So he wanted to skip over somebody. Somebody's not gonna get the prince.
They're gonna get the frog.
They're gonna get the frog, right? So I think even for us as males, like, if you didn't get it from your father, you just kind of had to figure it out, and sometimes our fathers didn't even really know. They just kind of chose the girl who was around.
Well, back in the day, they they arranged relationships because they
True.
knew that it was important that you marry well. And culturally, from antiquity, it was important that you married the right woman, a woman that was going to mothers know. They say we don't. She's not the right one for you. And so, in searching for that right woman, when they arranged those marriages, a lot of those marriages went the whole distance because they wasn't in love to begin with, but they learned to love each other. And love is a learned experience. But liking, I think that is a junior high experience, a totally different thing. I like you,
get it.
and my hormones are all wild when I'm around you. But love is a feeling that you can't explain. It enters your heart and it controls your brain. And so what you have to
okay. All right. What was that, Dr. Seuss?
no, that's Dr. John L. Mack. That's original.
Okay.
So when it enters your heart, it controls your brain. But at the same time, if you don't have emotional control, and I think that let's get down. Let's be brass tack real.
Right.
Emotional control. If you don't have emotional currency and emotional mastery, what's going to happen is your emotions are going to take control of you. And as men, we often are just going to just bounce from bed to bed, from situation to situation, because we don't have any full accountability. But when you have emotional mastery, you say, okay, this is not good. This isn't fair to the female. And it's not fair to me. So if I'm trying to grow, if I'm trying to establish myself as a man of integrity, a man of decency, and a man of character, then I'm going to have to pick and stick with the pick. And that becomes the whole issue.
Yeah, definitely. Stick with the pick.
Right.
Stick with the pick. Brother Mike,
So-
go ahead.
So I was going to say that's interesting what you said, because a lot of times they had to stick with the pick because they obviously
Pick wrong.
pick wrong, or either it just so happened to be a good night, and then now you stuck with that pick for a while.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times too, and as something you talked about earlier, Doc, is going through that motion of emotions, and it's like, okay, this sounds great, this feels great, everything feels great, but there's a lot of male and female listeners or people that are out there watching that are like, okay, this is it, this could be my time right here, and tomorrow they walk outside and they're trying to find love. But I think what happens is a lot of people rush it so much because society says, "Oh, girl, you're 42. You need to get married. You're supposed to have some kids. You're supposed to do all these things of that nature." Like my mom was 38 when she had me. My dad was 37 or whatever. And it was just also always interesting that she would tell my sister, my younger sister, and my older sister, the stories about, okay, it pushing or trying to hurry up and have a relationship is probably one of the worst things you could ever do. So if I say anything, I've learned that I kind of through dating and being married, is rushing it and trying to just fall in love fast will end up being some of the work. Again, you got to stick with the pick. You got to go do what you're dealing with, only because you didn't want to take that time. So, and I'm one of those guys that kind of thinks of, God, universe, whatever you guys want to say. I think for me, it's like, man, it's like those things they fall into place in the right time. You know what I'm saying? And so, if anything, I would say that. And again, we'll get into the point of how he's supposed to fall in line and how he loves you and all that other stuff. But I would say, don't rush it, because otherwise you got to end up staying there.
Yeah. So how about this, fellas? Let's talk about, I've heard quite a few scenarios where it was obvious that the guy was just not into her like that,
Now, define that.
really like
deeply in love.
Like he wants to get married happily ever after, family, picket fence, and all that. Okay,
right.
Because we don't have a clear definition of the terms.
Right,
we could be talking all over the place.
That's true.
Well, that's what she wants. But
he's just trying to get a quick little.
Yeah. Exactly. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Like, how does she know How does a woman know when a man is just really not that into her?
Hey, Dr. John, can I take a crack at it, man?
Yeah, go ahead on, because
So-
that's a fastball.
It's a different
I'm trying to play
perspective.
softball.
All right, look. Okay, y'all take away my point to my card at any point, but I'm gonna break the bro code for a little bit, and I'm gonna give you a piece of the formula, ladies, so you understand. Okay,
Talk to her.
It's no different than when you go into the shoe store and you're like, oh my God, I like this pair of shoes, this pair of shoes. I go to the clothing store like this or like this or like this. There is something in this frontal lobe that's exciting you. That's like, oh my God, I got to be a part of that. I got to do something with that. And that same thing happens regardless if it's male or female. It's something that is enticing. It's something that's pushing you. So if that man gets to a point where he is just kind of like, well, hey, I got something going on today, and then it becomes a consistent pattern. And now all of a sudden he's coming with the same answer all the time. 9 times out of 10, he don't really like you. And females too. She don't really like you. Like in your mind, you're thinking you're trying to make that something that is really not. And the reason why, again, if I like you enough to even deal with you, that's a different story. But the fact that if I'm getting to the point where it's a little bit more than liking you and starting to love you, I am going to show that as a man. I don't care how hard the strongest guy is, whatever the case may be. I mean, man, we're going to show that affection. We're going to show that emotion. We're going to do something. If he gets to the point where he's not calling you, if he gets to the point where he's not dealing with you, hey, it's time to move on. Same thing as a female to a male as well. I just think people just don't get the cues sometimes. They don't understand. It's like, okay, well, it's been 3 months. You're still here asking questions about when you're gonna call. That's your fault, because you're now to the point where you're not understanding and getting what this person was trying to tell you. And I'm not making it a male female thing. That's just across the board. So yeah, I think that's one thing. So when I say broke the bro code, it's like, hey, look, I know some of you like, oh, he didn't call me, it's been 2 days. No, don't give it a little bit of time. But at the same time, like that affection, that passion or whatever it is that he would have and display to you, if he's not doing that, you wasting your time. Your time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I think that you make a very significant point there. But on the other hand, there's 4 fingers and a thumb. And
I like it. Hey, look,
go right there now. And so this is what we have. Whether or not he's into you or not becomes evident not by whether or not he calls you, but if he makes himself available, if he makes himself present. And often the other party, male or female, wants, you may be their type. They want you so bad, they just want you, and they don't care. So if they want you that bad, they will ignore the cues. They hear the cues. They see the cues. They can smell the bacon frying, but they just they're just ignoring it because they're hoping that either that their sensuality, their sexuality, their experience is going to be so great it will persuade you to change their mind. They know up front that you're not really feeling them like they're feeling you, so they want to accelerate the feeling. They want to make you desire them. They want to make you want to be with them. Right. And so a guy walking into that situation realizes that he's got the upper hand. And so he's going to just milk it for whatever he wants, because until he gets to that point where he is tripped, he is smitten, he falls, he's going to take advantage of the fact that he has the upper hand, that the woman wants him. Early on in my love career,
he had a love career.
I like it.
Oh, I'm Johnny Mac, the super black. So she said rejection is a B word. And I was like, what? She said, when you would never let that. Hey, let's be honest. Now, are we going to be honest tonight? Or are we just going to tiptoe around? Like old girl said. Lisa said, I'm gonna keep it black, but I'm gonna keep it brief. And so I'm gonna keep it real. And so what happens is we pretend ourselves into relationships. We pretend she likes me. We pretend he likes, back and forth, and that we're hoping that we can do the law of attraction, that we can do some type of magical Jedi mind trick and make him fall for us. And sometimes it works. Sometimes the allure, they're just out there having fun, and then you actually become the one. But more often than not, we find ourselves in situations where they're really just taking advantage of the situation, not in a negative way or manipulative way, but they're out there and they're letting you know.
They seizing the opportunity.
Yeah, they're seizing the opportunity. Right. The opportunity presents itself. Yeah. They run with it, and then they look at you like, what? Now, there are some guys. Let's be real clear and honest and just pull all the sheets away. There's some guys that are low life, deceitful. They're going to lie. They may be married or in a relationship. They see something else that they like, and they just are looking to jump from skirt to skirt to skirt. And so they act like, well, it ain't going to hurt. And then when they've hurt a young lady and just really taken advantage of her, they have no remorse. Now those are not, that's not what we're talking about tonight. I don't think. I think we're talking about decent guys that just may not be into them or women. And let's look at it from that perspective. You know, nothing hurts worse than a man that's just pouring his heart out. I'm in love with you. I want to be with you, and she don't want. Oh,
brutal. Women are brutal in this.
Y'all ain't off the hook tonight.
Hey, Dr. Mack. You know, I tell the women, I say, you know, only women will go out with a guy that they don't like.
Don't want to be.
They don't even like him. They don't like how he dressed. They don't like he ain't getting no play, right?
Right.
They'll go out. They'll get dressed. They'll go out to dinner with him, spend his money.
It's fun.
Give him the wrong signal. And he's thinking, I got, she in love with me.
Yeah.
and men are the worst at reading those signs.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I would agree.
So on the reverse side, though, men don't go out with a woman that they don't like.
That's not true.
Hold on.
Oh no, I got to hear it now.
Listen to this, my child.
Okay.
Dr. Mack, listen to this.
Talk to me.
A man's going to like something about that woman. It's going to be whether it's her round behind or it's how she looks in them clothes.
Right.
He might like her eyes. He's going to like something about her.
Okay. Otherwise, he won't waste his time. There's going to be
okay. But a woman don't have to like nothing to go out and have a good time on you. Okay.
And that paints a shockingly dismal point of view for our sisters now.
A dismal truth.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts.
Oh my Lord.
Look, what do y'all think about this comment from Samantha Smith? She said, when men fall in love, it is evident. They just can't hide it. Their body language screams love.
Oh, absolutely. I would say we're hard at hiding that side of it a lot of times. Now, if you find a guy that can do it, that's great. But the reason why he's hiding that way, because he probably don't care about nothing about you anyway. He probably don't want to be around you.
No, if he's in love,
he's gonna make it happen. All right, let me give my embarrassing story. So I'm in the club one night, right? And me and my boys is sitting there.
I gotta get you a close up.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm in the club one night. This is right before, I even thought about, going to visit my wife. And music going on. I'm kind of bobbing my head, but I ain't there. My homeboy was like, "Hey man, you all right?" I was like, "Nah, I'm cool, man. Let's go. He's like, "Yeah, man, let's go over here. Some chicks over here, whatever." Still not paying attention. And 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whenever the club was closing, my man was like, "Hey man, just call her." I was like, "What you talking about, dude?" He was like, "Man, you've been off this whole night, right?" And I was like, "Dang." Called her up. She didn't pick up the phone. It's now 3, 4 in the morning. Me and my homeboy about to go back home. It's like, I'm driving to a house, man. 6 o'clock in the morning. I want to be there when she wake up, type of thing, right? So, I'll skip all of that story to say this. It is, you'll do crazy things as a man when you really trying to show a woman how important she is in your life. Now, I don't know if that's to say. I don't know if forget it. We're speaking strictly, a male perspective. You'll show that to a woman because you don't want the opportunity to slip away or want to get to a point where you lose that woman. Because I had an ultimatum with my wife. My wife was kind of like, hey, I never forget, she was flying in from Virginia or something. She was like, you pick me up from the airport, we cool. If you don't pick me up, we still cool. We can be friends. Or as a matter of fact, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not like I was forced into it as much as it was like, okay, you've given me this side of you, and then all of a sudden you're a little bit too nervous because like, dang, this could be something real. So let me step back. Let me try to figure out now how to weasel my way in, still try to play both sides of the fence. My wife was like, that's cool, but I ain't the one. It's like, you got to figure this thing out. It's like, you know what? Be at your house at 6 a.m. Like, so I think it's for men, like we gonna show it. You gonna find out who we are. You're gonna see the vulnerabilities in us sometimes because we can act real foolish in a lot of ways, man. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. That's good, brother. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, social media changes a lot of it because it exposes. Often we find ourselves, trying to portray a certain image and a perspective and a vision of what we think, what we want people to see about us.
Right.
But our social media avatar really says more about it than anything. And so from that, it kind of leverages or lends itself to learning a lesson. So when that female is finding a guy, number one, that doesn't have social media, he's hiding something. But when they look at his social media, they look at everything. A woman is a researcher. She's gonna access and she's gonna discover everything she possibly can before she puts herself into a position where she's going to date him or even consider dating. So a woman that doesn't do that, doesn't do her due diligence, and a guy that doesn't do the same and finds themselves in a dating relationship or romantically involved atmosphere, and they haven't done their due diligence, then there's in today's marketplace, that's a red flag.
Oh, hold on, Dr. Mac.
I'm just saying.
Hold on, Dr. Mac. You hit the nail on the head. So we got a question from the audience. Boy,
ding, ding.
A perfect segue. I got questions in the inbox. I put this out last night. Got questions from the inbox. So the ladies have questions. Question is, she said, hello, here are my questions. Number one, dating red flags. What is a red flag that a woman can see that, or it could be either one, right? A man or a woman. What's a red flag that you think that a person has to pay attention to?
Big Mike.
Oh yeah. So
he's ready. He's ready.
Yeah. So I think the thing is I'm trying to figure out the most politically correct way to say it.
Man, just say it.
So, well, here's the reason why I don't say it, because like I hate to call people crazy, but you'll notice certain things. It's like when your spirit says, "Man, that thing ain't right," you know what I'm saying? And I hate it, but this is the way life is now. It's like I see a lot of people, women that I know now, my cousins, friends, or whatever. They do background checks day one. Like, what's this dude really about? Like, let's do the bump a Google search. I'm paying $20, $50 to find out what he's about, because the way that he comes off is kind of weird. It's like, something about you ain't right, or you're not telling me everything. So the dating red flag is when he seems reserved or she seems reserved about certain things. And then sometimes you have to have a medium, because sometimes they overly share their life and everything on date number one. You just kind of like, man, I'm drained. So when another dating red flag is like, I'm drained because you gave me your entire life from like the time you fell off that bike at you fell off the bike at 3, you know, and we just got to you being 17 and we 3 hours in. Those type of things means like, okay, there's a lot of hidden emotions and a lot of hurt that's there Not
It's
all the time,
reflection.
but yeah,
Well,
but exactly. A lot of times they feel like, okay, I now have someone to talk to about it, but it's like, I don't know, because now you're telling me a lot more than, or you already telling me a lot, and I don't have to speak about it. My dad used to say this. He said, if you have a group of men in one place, in the first 5 minutes, they're going to tell you every truth there is. They're going to tell you where they're from, where they work, how many kids they got, etc. The next 45 minutes is all lies. Okay. so what you got to do is you got to listen to the first 5 minutes and really hear what that person's about. And then when they're reserved and say, hey, tell me about you, that's a good man.
Yeah.
That's not a red flag. But when he talks more about himself than you, then that means you got a red flag going, because he's could possibly be narcissistic, or could be way overboard for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Dr.
Yeah.
Mack, what's a red flag?
wow, that's one of those. Some questions are so easy they just flow off of the tongue.
To you. To you. But trust me, there's a lot of people.
Well,
It
yeah,
ain't-
and
it's
I'm
not
looking
so
at
easy.
red flags. If you're talking about you're on a date with a person and they are giving you cold signals and flags that says, "Hey, check this out, check this out, check this out," it's incumbent upon you to check that out. And if you see, you should not enter a dating relationship unless you have a spiritual antenna.
Mhm.
And that spiritual
Right.
antenna, for lack of a better word, is called discernment.
Yes,
That's
sir.
the optimum gift. So when you're with a person, if you can't discern their spirit, if you don't know whether or not, when a person talks to me, I know I could tell. I can read a person and tell whether or not they're genuine, authentic, whether that they BS, whether or not they like me, they're just tolerating me, they're celebrating me, they too much into me. You can tell that. And that only happens when you learn how to read the vibration and read the tune, read the feeling. So that's that red flag. It's saying, hey, something is not right. Something is amiss about this situation. You need to take a deeper look, a deeper dive. You need to get a little bit more clarity. And Mike, you talked about trust. I think that trust is important, but clarity is even more important. When you're clear, then you'll know what you want. So when you have a bar, when you have a boundary that you've set up and say, this is what I accept. I don't accept. You teach a person how to treat you. You teach a person, like when you walk in and he's talking about bees and holes and
Right.
negative language and everything. That's a flag. Hey, this person isn't going to respect me. He's not going to elevate me and celebrate me. Instead, he's going to delineate me. He's going to treat me. If he is saying the N word and the B word and using all sorts of foul language and not having a positive word track, that's the basic red flag right there. This is saying, hey, if he starts off like this, that means it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
So I need to just kind of pump my brakes and say, hold up. Maybe you don't know how to treat me. Maybe you have been treating other women this way and communicating this way in front of them, and they accepted it.
Yeah.
And that's okay. If that's what you're used to, then we might need to just cut this short and maybe not even pick it back up anytime. So we might need to just end this.
Yeah, Dr. Mack, you know that's
got me started.
No,
Got me drinking my wine.
Look, that sounds good, right? But a lot of the women talk like that. So you got to make sure that
and vice versa, right? But the guy has to say, okay, hey, I'm gonna be the man in this relationship. I'm going, and these are my boundaries. And if you don't set boundaries, even in friendships, relationships, and everything, you have to have boundaries. You have to have ceilings and bars and say, this is how you treat me. This is how I'm going to treat you, but this is what I will accept. I won't accept you talking down to me, condescending. I won't accept you calling me out of my name like B's and H's and I won't tolerate that.
Yeah.
And that's the red flag.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And so if he pulls,
I got something specific. That and
I want something romantic.
Right. I got something specific for you, right?
Okay.
I shot a video a while ago, and it's in the YouTube sphere in my YouTube page here, and it's called "The 5 Red Flags That You Absolutely Cannot Ignore." Oh, right. And one of the red flags I talked about was ask, does he introduce you to the female members of his family, the older female women in his family? Okay. I'm not talking about like, his little sister or somebody. I'm talking about the older women, right?
Auntie,
grandma.
Did he introduce you to Aunt Rose and Big Mama, right?
Right.
And this is not a guarantee.
Because he may not even have a relationship with them. And if he doesn't, that's another red flag. But go on.
Yeah. But in general, a man who's really serious about you, he cares what Big Mama think about you.
True.
He cares what Aunt Rose thinks about you. And so if he introduces you to those people, then you got a better shot at seeing that this guy is real. But if he doesn't introduce you to any of it, if he just introduced you to a cousin or his brother that they go out and play together, then that's not much. You're not getting anywhere far. But it's the older female women in the family that tell the tale.
Oh, well, I'll say this because that was his first introduction to how to treat a woman, what women were about. A lot of things that the way that he's molded in his mind of how a woman should be, what came from that circle. So if he can introduce you to them and he values their opinion, that means that's a good thing for you. I know we're talking about red flags, but that's a good thing. Now, if he does it and he's got, exactly. Now, if it's his homegirl that he went to college with, she ain't really care. Because let's be honest, they might have had a moment themselves, Right. And now he just passed you off to the girl that was a one-night stand. Let me be honest, So now, all of a sudden, the value that he puts in you is not the same because now you're not meeting the people that molded and shaped his value of women. You're meeting someone that's, halfway important. So that means you're halfway important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So fellas, look, I got a couple of questions here, and then we're going to open the phone lines to see if anybody want to give us a call and talk live, and you want to bring this scenario up. So I want let's see if we can keep our answers short. Because we got a few questions here I want to get through. Cool. And we'll make that happen. So here's the question. Somebody, a lady sent this question in. Why do men ask what women bring to the table? Wouldn't the answer depend on that man personally as opposed to men in general?
That's kind of like a generalized question because most of the women that I know are not going to ask that question because they're not really that concerned as much as I'll skip my personal perspective. I'll go over general and say the reason why they ask is because society says the woman's supposed to ask that question all the time. So a lot of times we flip the script and say, okay, what you bringing to the table? It's easy for you to come up with this because it's what society tells you to do. So we have the right to ask that same question. I think that's the easiest answer.
That's the easy answer.
Yeah.
I know you wanted it quick and just succinct, but that's probably the foundation of this whole conversation. I think that we have skewed the lines of what is politically or correct. Who's running the village? I think it's the village idiot right now. So what do women bring to the table is an important question, but it's only asked out of a sense of fear and failure. fear that they may be bringing more, and failure that we didn't bring enough. And so we want to make sure that we're saying, okay, well, you talking all this noise, and women, especially from a culturally perspective of African American women, often bring a dynamic to the table of, because we have been women have been given better opportunities, they've been given better educational opportunities, and now they're in the corporate structure and they're making more money. And let's just be honest and real. So so a lot of guys find women that are bringing a lot more to the table. And so this question is, of course, from a guy that's bringing a lot more to the table, and he's saying, okay, other than the fact that you're beautiful, other than the fact that what else do you bring to the table? Well, if a wise man realizes that the woman he picks, she may not have the degree, she may not have the job or the money, but if she can bring stability, if she can bring a sensible head, if she can take care of a household, raise the children, if she can do all these things well and represent well and help him to look good, she brings more to the table than he can go out and buy. So it's I mean, that's that. I'm a girl dad, so y'all got to just forgive me.
Dr. Mack is biased. He's biased.
Just a little teenage bit.
A little biased. All right. So this is the question. Mike, did you answer?
Yeah, I did.
Yes, you did. You did a good job.
You absolutely did.
Wouldn't the answer depend on that man personally as opposed to men in general? Of course it would, because that man might be bringing a lot to the table, and he thinks because he brought so much to the table that he doesn't really understand her worth or value what she brings to the table. And so he asked that question out of arrogance and out of ignorance, you know.
Yeah.
Mike, am I right? Come and talk to me.
You're right.
Yeah. So here's my thought of why he's asking that. I think in our time today, this isn't like in the 1950s where people really just made it happen on one salary. You know, he wants to know, what he's really asking is, what value do you bring to this? Would you bring to this situation? I don't blame the guy for wanting to know, because a man needs to check in on this to see who you're bringing on. Because look, when a man asks to marry you, here's what he's asking. He says, "Will you marry me?" Okay. So what I'm asking you is, will you get on my train and choo down the track, right? Into some kind of success. There's some reason that I want you on my team. So that brings a whole nother question. Why do you want, what is it that he sees in you? That's the guy who says, "Will you marry me?" What is it in you that he sees? Now, a lot of women won't pause for a minute to ask that question because they're just so happy. I'm just so excited. He asked me, right? But what's he really asking? And is there a track? Is there a future? Is this train even moving? Will this train ever move?
Are we rowing the boat together? That's for someone.
Are we rowing together?
That's true.
You understand? So I think while it could be construed in that way, I think a lot of men are. Look, another thing, a lot of men have gotten tricked, right? And so they've seen their fathers get tricked. They've seen their uncles get tricked. They've seen their grandfathers get tricked. And
sometimes they the trick.
Yeah, sometimes they the trick. Right.
That's that out loud.
Right. Listen, Dr. Mack, we covering all the angles. Cover all the angles.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He just said what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
They are the trick, right? But some men have seen things not go well, and they are very concerned about the future and choosing the right woman. So I don't have any problem with a man asking this, as long as like you have a good answer when she turns it back on you.
Makes sense.
So what if it's vice versa? What if the woman says, "What are you bringing to the table?"
Yeah,
And so
he need to have a good answer too.
and so now that's emasculating. That is almost. I'm not even gonna say that word, but it's very. When you stop, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if a guy comes in and a woman has a better job, makes
Mhm.
more money,
Mhm.
has more clout, influence, impact, and what have you, and she says, "Okay, well, what do you bring to the?" So now it becomes a almost a uh, that narrative is nothing good. But at the same time, he has to be confident enough in himself. He has
There
to
you
have
go.
the courage, the confidence, and the candor to say, "Hey, you are my helpmate."
Mhm.
And because I'm your helpmate, you may make more money because society position it that way. But the bottom line is, what I'm bringing to the table is strength, stability, and direction. And you know that I'm your covering.
Yeah.
I'm your man. I'm your mate, and I'm here. And a strong man is going to look at a woman and say, "Look here, I'm bringing all this, and I'm helping and empowering you to even go further. You're
Mhm.
making way more than me right now, but you don't have the. You need someone to push you to that next level because you can do even more. And
Yeah.
that's what a strong man is. But a lot of men are so weak and wimpy.
Oh man.
They're afraid of a strong woman.
Yeah. And I listen, I agree with you, Dr. Mack. So, as well, there are a lot of women out here now who are who don't have the follow gene, right? They got the
Oh yeah.
They want to lead.
Submission is
wanna
not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right. So, submission is a dirty word to them.
Right.
So like then there's that. So, but there's definitely both angles.
But goes back to the boundaries.
Mhm.
You know, he's got to say these are the boundaries, and she's got to say, okay, I'm willing to fit within those boundaries, but at the same time, these are my boundaries. And then it becomes there's a word that I've coined called collaboratunity. That opportunity
I like
when you
it.
collaborate
Yeah,
together.
hashtag that. Hashtag.
This guy right here.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
y'all better leave me alone.
Yes, sir.
Gems. Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
But I get it, man. It's
Yeah.
oh I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I know.
bro.
Yeah.
It's good. Got another question, y'all.
Men look at the shelf life of
The
women.
shelf life.
Do
Wow.
men-
Dang. Okay. We
Hey.
treat it like milk now. Okay.
Okay.
Um
I'm scared of that one.
So I'm not sure, like Doc said, I'm not sure. We have to get the clarity on the word, but however, the shelf life, I'm assuming means the longevity of okay, I can see this person now and I can see them in the future. So it's no different than they tell you back in the days, like, man, hey, you gonna date a woman, look at her mama and see what she about. You know what I'm saying? Find out what her mama's about. That's how you would really tell the shelf life. And I did it, you know, personally. I did it because I had conversations with my wife's mom to understand the mindset that my wife got, or that was the things that were deeply ingrained into my wife's being, so I can know what I'm going to deal with later on down the line. So I'm an entrepreneur, and my grandfather was an entrepreneur. My dad was to a certain extent. So the very first thing I wanted to hear is like, how can you not add to my life as much as to how are you going to help me to keep, like you said, keep rowing, or in the boat, keep propelling. Like if I hear that from you and we share those same conversations, now I'm looking at you like, oh shoot, like, okay, this is year one, or this is just the date. Like, man, what's gonna happen in 5 years? And don't start talking about it. Like, oh yeah, well, in 5 years I want to do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, okay, you got my attention now. You got my wheels spinning, you know? So I guess when we talk about shelf life, we talk about what the future looks like. So we would start from, you know, the mom, the aunt, the whoever, you know, she's been raised by or been influenced by, or guy, the same thing, and then determine what that shelf life looks like, you know, based upon the conversations. There's situations, circumstances, and people, or sometimes are the three things that I look at when it comes to influence, right? So if you take those opportunities and you look at those conversations, those first conversations, that's how you can tell what that shelf life is. Now, let's talk about real quick. We're in a relationship. We've been together 5-6 years, what the case may be. Either we married or we still dating. Now the shelf life looks like, okay, Like, are you really down for me for the rest of life? Are you down to, what they always joke about? Like, are you down to change my dentures or put the polygrip in? Like, let's really talk about that. But are we talking about future, or do we have future talks? Or things that we're going to do down the line, or are we just talking about, okay, what's going on right at this moment? So to me, that's what I understand the question is, like the shelf life. Now, physicality and things of that nature. I mean, yeah, I don't think that's what we're talking about, but that's a whole nother conversation. To bring me back for that one, boss.
All right.
Well,
Dr. Matt, what's your thoughts?
Mike, I think that part of it is that there's a understanding that there's a shelf life, there's an expiration date on certain things, and so my wife, she just to the point of she just got me crazy. She looks at the expiration date on everything we buy. On food and everything. And so she'll go through routinely and throw out stuff. I said, that's good stuff. But I look at the expiration date and it's expired. So I remember just recently eating some pancakes and some syrup. And man, these pancakes. Now I make the best pancakes on the planet.
Okay.
And she'll admit it. So I made the pancakes. They were light and fluffy. I put that syrup on the Miss Butterworth. That's the best syrup out there. I poured that Miss Butterworth on there. Had me. Oh man, big old. I was in hog heaven. I ate that, and then 20 minutes later, my stomach was bubble gutting because the expiration date on the syrup. And she says, "Johnny, look at the expiration date." So, do we look at a shelf life on a relationship? See, that shelf life is different based on the boundaries that were set up initially. So, if you look at it and say, "Okay, is this long-term or is this a short-term relationship? Is this a forever or is this just whenever?" And when it becomes a forever relationship, it says, okay, yeah, I messed up. I got a little overweight. My hair turned gray. I lost my hair. I used to have a big old afro. I was, Johnny Mac, the super black. But
this guy.
but when it's all said and done, when all those changes come into being, they're going to look at my expiration date and say, okay, well, he no longer fits my expectation, or she no longer fits that expectation. And so the expiration date is, the shelf life is fluid. It changes on a regular basis. So when that next iteration comes, when I've got a little bit of a gut and I try to keep it down, when all these things happen, is she still there? That's the red flag. Am I still going to be there for her, even though she's not that Coke bottle anymore, but she's still, she's still a good soft drink. I'm gonna blame it on this.
She's still a good soft drink. Yes, sir.
There you go.
All right, fellas. Look, we got a question from Chloe. Chloe dropped the question. She's trying to drop a bomb in here. I like that she's on the YouTube side. So
they different.
Yeah, they roll different on the YouTube.
And Facebook people got some sense. YouTube gonna come straight at you.
Yes.
Yeah, what's your opinion on dating a broke man?
So she wants to know opinions on dating a broke man. Mike,
a broke man.
Yeah.
My opinion is he could be broke, but he's got to have a good story. Let's be honest. Forget all the other stuff, because no woman is going, and I walk into a room, the very first thing that I'm looking at, I'm not going to say, oh, wow, her personality is great. I'm going to look at the physical part. Let's be honest. You're going to do the same thing with me. But then when you get into a conversation and all he's speaking is broke, and everything's coming from his mouth, I mean, my opinion is like that, that might not be the one, because what that's telling you is already setting you up for that. Now, Chloe, I'm not sure if I guess the way you formulated this question is because you either have had that experience or you kind of been down that road. But yeah, if that's not what you're looking for, I wouldn't even waste that time. Same thing as a woman. I wouldn't waste that time if you're telling me, because there's things like we like the finer things in life. Let's be honest. So if I'm gonna waste that time going backwards, it doesn't make sense. So if you're trying to date a broke man, or you get to a point where you like your steak medium, but he likes his steak out the bag. I mean, we're talking two different ball games. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you don't waste your time going backwards. And I know that sounds bad because the brother.
That sounds real bad.
But here's the thing. There's a brother out there that's like, man, hey, bro, man, that messed me up. But there's one brother that's like, nah, I'm broke now, but I got a plan. That's the guy.
That's the point.
That's the guy you want to talk to.
Because he doesn't have a broke mindset.
Yes, sir.
He's temporarily financially embarrassed,
right.
But he's not. His mindset isn't that he is a failure, that he's broke, that he won't come up. He said, okay, this is where I want to be, and this is where I'm striving to be, and everything about me, this is my mindset. I will be here because of the dynamics of that thought pattern. I will definitely get past this situation. This is a temporary financial impediment. I am not broke. So Donna says broke is a mindset. So so your opinions on dating that broke man? Hey, a date is merely an opportunity to discover whether or not this is someone you want to spend more time with. Mm-hmm. So if we're talking about dating, So I probably look at you. You date all of them, and when you get to a point, you say, "Okay, hold up. I dated you, and what I found out about you is that you have a poverty mindset." Next. I don't care if you're impoverished right now, but if you have a millionaire mindset and you're just looking for the right collaborativity to be able to come into that position, then great. But if you have a broke mindset and you broke, and the reason you broke is because your mindset is broken. You're a broken person. And look here, this is the deal. It takes two whole people to synergistically create that magnificent oneness. If you have two broken people, then you have just two pieces that are trying to come together, and they can never create that incredible oneness that comes when you synergistically come together and become more. And finances and brokenness are two separate situations. I hope that answers your question, LaDonna, because that's hard.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Wow.
All right. That was a good answer. Here we go. So let's get that next question in here. We got a couple of comments. Let me see what they had to say. You have to speak over your life. Okay. Good stuff. My girl Lavanya said, potential without a plan will lead to a dead end.
Ooh.
Jeez.
Dang that. Lavanya, je suis enchanté. Wow. Potential. And that's it. Potential.
Right.
People that have a mind, their mindset hasn't gone past what they could be, what they should be.
Yeah.
That's why Miles Monroe said the cemetery is probably the richest place.
Yes,
because all that potential. But with a plan, look here. My PB4 formula is this: a published book with a polished brand and a proven blueprint equals a profitable business. That's the plan. If you have a plan, then you can overcome everything. But without a plan, you're gonna be potential.
and that's all it's gonna be. Yes, sir.
Passing over opportunities repeatedly.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to tell you. Look. Listen, Doc. I always say that, like, this whole thing that we do, this is personal development.
Oh, it better be.
Right. The talking about love and bringing somebody into your life and living happily ever after. Like, this is about building your life. And there's only one real reason to bring somebody into your life, and you guys go down the road.
What's that?
That person adds value to who you already are.
We in church right now on the organ playing.
I mean, that's the only reason. That's the only reason to really be together, is that we're going to do more together than we will apart.
Yes, sir.
And bring value.
That almost segues into your next question. That was going to be my number one.
Man,
Yes, it is.
I'm scared of this next question.
And y'all can fire away. Fire away. What
So
are the top 5 qualities you seek in a mate? Imagine you having this conversation with your daughter, your niece, your your nephew, your son. You having this conversation with them, and they asking this question: what are the top 5 qualities you seek in a mate?
let's see. I don't have
And
a
look, and hold on, Mike. Before you answer, you don't have if y'all don't actually have to give 5.
okay.
You can just fire them off as they come up.
Okay, cool. Because
Okay?
I didn't like to be in that box. But I'll say this. So, like you were saying, what value do you bring to me? Again, I hate when people say, "Oh, this person adds to me." But then, if you were incomplete when we first started, then you're wasting my time because I need you to come with value. With value propositions, like when you laying stuff out on the table, make sure that you are showing me your key points that you are going to bring to the table. So that's one thing. Second thing for me is high on my list is trust. Like I talked about earlier, if I can't trust that you can be honest with me, if I can't trust you as a person, or if I can't trust you with my vulnerability, it's a wrap for me. It's like, and that's just me personally. But we talk about certain qualities when it comes to, let's just speak specifically about females. One of my things is a woman to me should be like that delicate soul, that delicate person that's there. So if I don't see that quality in you, and I don't mind us going to hoop, but if you out there trying to score 35 on me and fouling in the edge, whatever the case may be, like, I'm like, wait a minute, dude. Like, I think I'm just old school when it comes to that. Like, I enjoy a woman being a woman, just like a woman would enjoy a man being a man. You walking down the street, something going on. Nah, Big Mike got my back. Matter of fact, they better not say that to me because Big Mike gonna knock everybody out, right? That's what a woman would see, right? No different than what a security. The same thing it comes with a female. It's like there's certain qualities about a woman that makes you attractive to a man, and we love those things about you. And that's just just a general statement about women or females. When it comes to those type of qualities that you have, I'd say one more thing too is I hate the straightforward people. So when I say that, like, we got to have some fun because otherwise this is boring. Like, it's like, oh, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. It's like, man, show me something. Let's go on the edge. I always used to say this to people, and some guy, I'm 41, but there's some people that I mentor. I'll tell them, it's like, hey, there are people that will go to the edge and say, oh, I can land right here, or it's safe to land over here. As a matter of fact, I could pull my parachute. I could jump down a little bit further. I jumped about 15 feet ago. I jumped 15 feet, closed my eyes, and went blind. And sometimes you have to be like a risk taker, or you have to show some type of edge that is a part of you. That's one of the qualities that I would have to have in a woman, and I still have that in my wife because that's just me. And honestly, I mean, sometimes, hey, I fail and I crack my neck on a few of those rocks, but sometimes I just landed flat and I rolled, took that shoulder and made it happen. What I'm saying is that those qualities, or that quality to me, is that live life on the edge sometimes, because otherwise, if you stop moving, if you're not, going, moving forward, and you're not that person that's connecting with me and doing those things, I mean, this life thing gets boring. So yeah, I don't have, that's 4 or 5, but yeah, I think Doc, you take the rest of them, man.
That's good. That was good stuff, buddy.
No, that was great stuff. I'm sitting there saying, okay.
Yeah, what's your thoughts?
I'm saying young school trying to take us to school. But look here, I like I'm gonna keep it thick, okay?
Okay.
And that's the acronym I'm going to use to describe those 5 characteristics I'm looking at a woman. Now, I don't like nothing big but a bankroll. I'll catch that on the way home.
Hey, keep it real, Doc.
But I'm gonna keep it thick, and thick means I want the 5 characteristics or qualities that I'm looking for. I'm looking for trust, number 1, honesty. Honesty is more than, that is worth its weight in gold. Integrity, that you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do, and that you're gonna do it even when I'm not there. That's integrity. Character, your personality will get you in the room. Your character gets you kicked out. But the final point is knowledge. I want, and Doctor K, you're gonna appreciate this. Knowledge once gained casts a light beyond its immediate boundaries. I want you to grow. I want you to have knowledge. I want you to be a person that I can sit down and we can discuss the verisimilitude of life. We can pontificate on the possibilities of your potential and our potential in becoming the best, greatest possible selves. So knowledge is so very, very important. And those top 5 qualities, it again is fluid. It's thick now. It might be slim later. It might be sexy. It might be looking good. It might be integrity still. All of it changes. But the bottom line is this: that you have to have a person that is trustworthy, that is honest, that has integrity, character, and is knowledgeable enough to continue to grow and not stop that flow.
I love it. Good stuff. Good stuff. So I'll just put out a couple, right?
Come on with it.
In my time of doing these coaching sessions, and my background is in working with men, as some of the audience knows, work with men for 17 years in social work, in church, men in the fraternity. And just always working with men. And so I have these thoughts about it. Sometimes people pick a person who's right for them right now. Right. But the question is, do our futures match? Right.
That boy good.
do our futures match? Like do we, are we on the same track? Will this person be going in the same direction that you're going in, whether you were going there or not? Like this is the way that they were going anyway. Right. And not to say that you have to match up with everything and that they have to be y'all got to be like 2 peas in a pod. That's not necessarily it. But the question is, in our track of life, we're going down the track. Are we going in the same direction? Are the things that mean something to me the same things that mean something to you?
Right.
Right. As I think of my parents, right? And my father, they got married like in, let's say maybe 1967, right? 1967. My father knew that he was going to be a pastor, right? This was he knew that this was what he's going to do. He knew he wanted to pastor even when he was in high school, right? It would have been ridiculous for him to meet this girl, and she said, "You know what?
I don't want to pastor."
And she's like, I like church and everything. Church is all right, but okay, I'll date you and we'll kind of see how things go. No, he knew what it was, what his mission was, where his life was going in, and it made sense for him to marry a woman who was going in that direction anyway. She knew she had a call on her life, and she was moving in that direction anyway. So it made sense. Boom. Look, we going down there. We can go down there together. And as I read one time, it said, one could chase 1,000 and 2 could put 10,000 to flight, right? Which literally means we can do 10 times more together than we can apart.
That's
when
true.
You're in sync with the right person.
That's true.
You understand?
Yeah.
So,
oh boy, that's good.
Yeah, man. So that's what I think. Quality of a mate. I got 5, but I only need to talk about one, and that is going and do our futures match? Asking the questions, do our futures match? And that'll determine where our future goes.
Definitely, I agree.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. So, all right, we got some more comments here. Have to line up. Yes. Never works if you are trying to put a square in a circle.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this. And you guys, listen. If y'all got questions, or you want to come on live, we got the call-in number. The number is hot. The number is live. Give us a call right now, and we'll put you on the air. We doing it tonight. This is how we do it, and we welcome your questions coming through. All right, let me grab another one of those questions from the audience. She said, yep, here we go. Ooh, now this one, fellas.
Man, let me sit up.
Yeah.
He's trying to prepare us for possible peril.
Hold on, I want to make sure I'm able to get the whole question in there because it's cutting me off. Here we go. Why? Yep. We going in there right now. Here we go. All right, good. I got it in there. Here we go. Here's the question, gentlemen. Why would a man voice that he no longer wants you but doesn't have his stuff together? 3 of my professional brothers reached out and said, start dating other people. This is, I know the person that sent this in. She's in a relationship. She's actually in a serious relationship with a man. But he is stating that he no longer wants her, but doesn't have his stuff together. People are encouraging her to move on. She's thinking she needs to move on, but she can't move on. What's your thoughts?
So I have that social work background just like you, man. So
Okay.
you know where that comes from, man. He got some insecurities. And unfortunately, he might not be man enough to tell you that. Or he may be man enough to try to protect himself to say, you know what? I mean, hey, I want to move on because this is not making sense to me because I don't feel like we're moving forward or I'm not moving forward fast enough for you. So some of the answers that you're getting, he's saying he don't have his stuff together. You know that. And you've probably said it a few times to him. However, he no longer wants to be with you because like, okay, I don't know if it's even worth the shot because now I got to do some work on myself. But I don't know if I can do it and be that person that can just say, you know what, hey, we'll do it together. Now, if he said we'll do it together, which means that we'll work on me along with you helping me, and that's different. But it doesn't sound like that's the case here. He's basically saying, hey, I'm ready to move on because I might be a little bit insecure and I'm trying to figure that out. But I'm not about to sit up here and have you Dr. Phil me in the process. I just need to walk away. And if you're there for me down the line, it'll be cool. But if not, hey, I got to keep it moving. So that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Well, I think that a brother and a sister wants to live in a judgment-free zone.
Right.
And the hardest thing to do is to be judged, to be condemned, to be ridiculed, to be laughed at, and to be put down. So when a person, if someone doesn't want to be with you and expresses that, and your only thought pattern is the nerve of you don't even have your SH together, and then you're gonna leave me, and I got mine together. Well, there's some dynamics that's going on deeper than the fact that you may have your finances together. You may have a job situation. You may have a house. You may have a car. You may even have a church situation. But there may be some other chinks in your armor. There may be some other issues that you need to get together, and you can't see that. You're so busy pointing out the splinter in your brother's eye, and you don't even see there's a beam in your own eye. So I mean, and when I really understood that, I said, "Dadgum, this person is now." On the other hand, there's 4 fingers and a thumb, because what you have is that comparison syndrome, and there's 3 types of people. You have the imposter, you have the poser, and the imperfect person. The imposter feels that he's not good enough, and the poser acts like he's better than good. No, dang gone well, he ain't all that.
Mhm.
But the imperfect person says, I don't have it together. I'm not perfect. I don't want to be with you because that's part of my imperfection.
Mhm.
But I know I need to get better, and I
Mhm.
can't get better if I continue being with you,
Mhm.
or you are not part of the future that is a better part of me.
Mhm.
So it's best if we're not together any longer because you're not serving me,
Mhm.
and ultimately I'm not serving you.
Right.
There you go.
And together we are diametrically opposed instead of being that synergistic oneness that
Mhm.
will take it to that next level
Mhm.
of awesomeness.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Well said. Well said. Look. My girl Beatrice on the Facebook side, she said, "Never question why God takes people away. Sometimes He's clearing your path for something better."
Mm.
That's true.
Mm, yeah. So
Absolutely
so
true.
so look. So my answer to this, right? As I look at this question, why would a man that he no longer wants you says essentially he's saying I don't want you, but he doesn't have his stuff together to live on his own. That's how I'm getting this question getting this
Okay.
question. Um, people are encouraging her to move on, but
I,
he's saying I don't want you. But he's not economically in a position to take on all that comes once you walk
With
out the
being
door.
alone. Hmm.
Yeah. So it sounds like she's a woman who has compassion on this guy who no longer wants her.
mm,
That's kind of a problem.
th-
So go ahead, bro.
no, I said I would agree. So now that you phrased it that way or set up that scenario, then yeah, I think for part of that is his ego. His ego is like, man, you didn't got me. You didn't broke me
Yeah.
down. You make more than me. Yeah, all this stuff is going on in my life, and you know what? My ego is like, man, you know what? Skip it. You can go where you want to go. I'm good. I'm gonna keep it moving. I ain't got my stuff together, but I'm gonna figure it out. Hey, he
Mhm.
walk outside the house, be like, dang, how am I gonna figure this out?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's that's just the ego thing, but that's a man thing, as cliche as that may be. I mean, just a male thing. It's like sometimes we just don't want to, put our stuff out, our business out in the streets. We rather like, well, you're not gonna last anyway. I'd rather just go ahead and push, keep it pushing because I don't really have time to break down the point of having to deal with you and having to help you understand what all of my issues are. Like, nah, you know what? I'm good. Now, I'll say this to end my question. I know the person that actually sent that, but if this was a generic question, I would say that those professional brothers, they said reach out and start with somebody else because hey, they're gonna come in to work the next day and be like, hey,
Yes, sir. They're like, I'm
I
not
ain't no slouch, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
I watched it because a lot of them probably have a different agenda, a hidden agenda
Yeah.
behind it too. So
True.
Well,
True.
that's my thought.
I'm looking at those are her good friends,
Yeah, I know.
they say, look here, baby girl,
Right,
the brother's not into you, and he's already shown you, and he
right.
really don't have his stuff together anyway. Stop wasting your time on that direction because you are awesome, you're powerful, you're wonderful, you're beautiful, you're spectacular. I'm concerned about your mental health, and I'm concerned about your overall. So don't even waste any more time on that because you could be out there dating somebody that actually got it together and wants to be with you. And there ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Oh
nothing
yeah,
wrong.
Great advice. Brothers gave us some great advice, I think.
Yeah.
yeah.
My girl Beatrice, she said, "Does that even matter what his situation is? Like, what difference does it make what his situation is?" But see, she still has the heart for the man that she was with.
Now, that's
Uh,
different.
but he,
Yeah.
but he,
But he ain't feeling her no more.
Right.
He may still be feeling her. He's not feeling a relationship.
yeah,
And so there's a situationship going on here that's different than the relationship.
yeah,
He may be have commitment issues. He may
mhm,
be he may know that he doesn't have his stuff together,
Yeah.
and realize that by staying there, he's preventing her from going to another level. He may
Right.
be the ultimate brother. Y'all better give him some celebration.
Look, not only that, what happens when he does get his stuff together?
Ooh, then she gonna be running to my. I never wanted to push you out no way. My boys told me this.
Right.
Yeah,
The three
okay.
professional brothers told me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a professional brother now. I got the
Right.
6 figures. How you like me now?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm over there
Wow.
with Karen.
Right.
I see, and that's what no. Ultimately, that's what a brother's looking for. Someone that we talked about that shelf life before. So we're gonna look at that shelf life and say, okay, now that I don't have it together. When I didn't have it together, you didn't stick by me. Now that I got it together, you all up on me. What the old boy say? So now first you didn't want me. Now
Now you
I'm
Yeah.
all up on
you
me.
all up on me.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's all about there's a fluid nature in life, and we all have the option of becoming better. Potential means that there's something that we can strive for to become better. And as men, there's times, biblically it says, when I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we get past that childhood nature, then we become better. And when you know better, you do better, or you should.
Yeah.
And when you start doing better, then better things start happening.
Absolutely.
And reality is shifted and bended. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, well said. Well said. I think that, look, at the end of the day, everybody has to do what makes sense to them. And so you have to ask yourself, does this make sense to me?
To me.
Or
to us.
To us.
Yeah.
And for some men, they gotta get out there and prove themselves to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Because that's the whole conversation.
Yeah.
So, that's you're talking about that's another 2-hour conversation right there.
Sometimes a man's got to get out there and prove himself to himself. It's not even about her. It's about can I make it on my own? Right? And sometimes with her, like giving him the crush. He's okay.
Emasculated him though.
Yeah, and you're keeping him from walking on his own.
Exactly.
Sometimes you're actually hurting him more than you help.
And real quick, I've got a couple of friends that were like that, where they had a woman that was a strong woman. She was ready to go. She was doing everything, and they got so comfortable being in that position, they couldn't find ways to get out. And then when it's time to get married and stuff like that, it's like, oh, you know what? I want to go ahead and start living on my own now. Then we'll get married. It's like, no, this is what this whole thing is about. We've been what they call courting back in the days, or we've been living together. So like, what's the deal now? I think for me, that kind of gets frustrating. It was frustrating to watch because I'm like, bro, for real? Like, you can really go through this process where like you go out, do what you got to do, and still keep your relationship with her. But man, it's not every guy's like that. I would say not every guy's thinking that way. So
absolutely,
and not every guy is the same. Just like not every female is the same.
That's true.
And part of it is getting to a position of understanding.
Right.
When I can understand you, then I can overcome all the issues that will try to prevent us from being able to move forward in relationship.
Okay.
But until that understanding occurs, it's going to be, issue. If the wind blows the wrong way, it'll end the relationship. But when you have an understanding, shoot, ain't nothing can stop it.
Keep swimming.
It'd be like weebles, they wobble, but they won't fall down.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. So gentlemen, as we look, we covered quite a bit of ground here, but I want to make sure that people can really identify these signals of when a guy is feeling you and when a guy is not feeling you.
We tried to get around it. We didn't want to discuss that. That was the hard part.
Yeah. If he's feeling you, so look, we'll go around the circle a few times. How about we'll start with feeling you. This guy's falling in love with you. He's feeling you. So we'll go around. I'll go first, John. You go, and then you go, Mike.
All right.
Feeling you. If a guy is feeling you, you are in his mind, and he lets you know that you're in his mind. Doc.
Well, if a guy is feeling you, he's going to show it in subtle ways and in obvious ways. When a guy feels you, there's no question. You can feel the feeling that he is sharing because it emanates from his very pores.
Yeah.
Mike.
I would say, honestly, it's picking up where Doc left off, is that it gets to a point where he can't control it anymore. And honestly, sometimes as men, we share that physically. It's like, okay, if it's physical contact or whatever the case may be, that's when you know he's feeling you. And not trying to use a pun, but what I'm saying is that he's feeling you, which means that now I cannot control myself anymore. I have to let you know. Versus, I'm giving you that time, that energy that you need, and that effort that you need.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get another round of that. Right. I like
right.
that. I like what I'm getting so far.
All
So this little piece thing that I picked up, I can grab something from here. Right. Talking about when a man is falling for a woman, and he starts asking about the future. Now I need to take that down. I need to pause for a minute, right? Because I need somebody to pay attention to what I'm about to say. When a man is falling, a man is feeling you, right? And he's got that plan, he's got that thought, he's got that desire for you. Oh, hold on, one quick second. Hold on. I want to make sure I'm pulling. Okay, I wanted to put that back up. Okay, the man's falling for you, right? He's talking to you about the future. I don't know who I'm talking. I'm gonna get real close. I don't know who I'm talking to. But if the man is not talking to you about the future, you are not in it.
It's true.
I need an individual on this. If the man is not talking to you about the future, you are probably not in it. So a man who wants you, a man that desires you, a man that's falling for you, is talking about we, us. Like, what are we going to build? Where are we going to go? Where would you like to live? Right? It's a togetherness connection, not just I means there's no
we.
You.
Yeah.
and there's no we. Correct.
Well, I promise you that is so on point. When a man includes you in conversations about the future, that means his past is over, and it's your responsibility to let that past be that past, because the future can't happen if you're so caught up in dragging up the past. And if he's bringing you into conversations about his future and your future, and you're included in that conversation, and you have an opportunity to be a part of what he is hoping to bring together in life, and he's willing to step up and to protect you, to provide for you, to abide with you, to open doors of opportunity and situation for you. That is when a man is showing you that he really wants to be with you, and that's something that can't be faked. That's something that is real, honest, and true, and it happens only when he is that much into you and is willing to include you as a part of what's going to be.
Well said.
Yeah. If I can verbally state to you or verbally express my opinions about you and how I see you in my future, that means that you obviously have some type of you're in the pecking order of the priorities of my life. So if I can talk about you now, then I can talk about, man, I can't wait until you meet my mom or meet my whoever the case may be. That now tells you as a woman, it's like, oh, wow, he's actually talking about it. Now, you get in the car, you drive home, it's like, girl, let me tell you, he was talking about his mom and such, such, such. And it excites you because of the fact that he even took the time out to state that. That means that there's something that's going. And as you mentioned earlier, if he's not talking about that, then yeah, it's also time to move on, because that means that you are just at this moment something that is exciting him. You're not something that he's thinking about to make him either get more excited or more involved or more to the point where he wants to provide for you or be with you, whatever the case may be in the future. So if he's not talking like that, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Absolutely.
I like it. Done, son.
So look, I want everybody that's watching, I need y'all to hit that like button, hit them hearts if y'all feeling what y'all hearing tonight. If you're enjoying this show tonight, I need y'all to hit them like. I even look, hit that share button if you can. We definitely would love to have that happen. Look, I would love to have you guys that donate so we can keep these shows going. All this technology costs money. And so everything costs here, and we would love to have you support the show. Not so we get rich, it's just so we can keep going and keep sharing and enjoy the process. So now, gentlemen, let's talk now about him, the man. If this guy's not feeling, we've already given way more than 10. It talks about, if a man's falling in love with you, if a man's feeling you. Let's go around this round robin. If a man is not really feeling you, all right. So I'll jump off on this first. If a man is not really feeling you, he's not interested in connecting and conversation. And if you find yourself doing all the calling, all the texting, you sending all the good morning messages, you're sending all the good night messages. Hope you had a wonderful day. Everything is you. Right? That man is not feeling you. If it's all about you, you got to do everything in that way. The guy is just not feeling you. Doc.
I'm almost silent on this piece because it's hard to. It's just draining to realize that you feel something for someone and they don't feel the same way for you. And so our very nature is to fight back against that. So if you like him, he has to like you. His taste may be totally different. He may like thin women. He may like big. It doesn't matter. For some reason, he's not into you. And to accept that means, in many cases, failure on your part. It means
Right.
That you haven't. It means lack of acceptance, and so that is enough to make you want to. The relationship has expired. It is. Is it the man's desire to conquer you that keeps him in pursuit, or can it be something deeper that he doesn't know how to express?
Wait, that's a whole nother question.
Okay. Stop. Okay, so if he's not into you, you got to be able to be put on the big girl pants and say, okay. That's hard because rejection is the B word.
Mm.
And whenever we get rejected, even from childhood on the playground, when someone would reject us, that would just destroy our emotions, our egos. It would put us, make us feel in some kind of way. So that's why this conversation for me tonight. And I'm staying up, Big Mike. I'm staying up. But you can't go to sleep on me.
Oh no, that's a long night.
Look here, this is way past my bedtime, but the conversation is so important because ultimately this is what it all was. Everything else we've talked to is leading up to this moment right here. What if he's not into you? Do you have enough courage to accept that?
That makes sense. Look, I'll answer it like this.
Okay.
If he's petty, he'll show you that petty.
Ooh,
which means that he'll be like, well, look, I told you to stop calling me, or I've showed you without even the nonverbal cues. And if you couldn't accept that, then that's your issue. Because what he's saying as a man is like, okay, look, or he might say, I don't want to hurt your feelings. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop answering the phone. You keep calling. My grandma used to call it a new food is what you are. you know, because now you're allowing yourself to try to accept something that, like, he's obviously telling you, no, I don't want to deal with you no more. So
Wait,
you're a new fool.
a new fool.
You're a new fool.
I ain't never heard that one.
But here's the thing: it's like you keep
I'm
calling
writing
it.
that down.
You keep calling the same guy.
You ain't an old fool. You a new
Right,
fool.
you're a new fool. But I say it like this: you keep calling him, you keep going back and forth, and he's already telling you by your nonverbal. He's like, I don't want to deal with you anymore. Real quick. So I got put on a blind date one time when I was single, and it was the weirdest thing in the world. I was like, man, and she was just so like beyond where I am, like 25 years old. She's like in her early 40s, maybe. And I'm just like, bro. So I got on my homeboy about it, but I had to find ways to just be like, okay, there's nonverbal cues that I can give you to let you know this ain't it. Well, she just kept rolling. Well, I was like, well, now you look like a new fool because you standing there, and I'd have moved on, you know. And if you can't, like Doc said, you can't have the courage to say, you know what, I got to accept the fact he doesn't want me anymore. I got to keep it moving. Like, if you're not doing that, then you're stuck in the same situation. You're going over and over and over again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great story. I had a young lady that I basically did everything I possibly could non-verbally. And then I
Okay.
finally, I said, I'm gonna be honest with you. You're not my type. I like this type of female, and that's not your type. You know, physically, and even conversation.
Right.
Socially, you're just not my type. She said, yes, I am. I'm small. I'm this. I'm like, hold up. This is my opinion on the situation. You don't fit the criteria. Okay,
Yeah.
let me just be. Sometimes we have to be blunt. Sometimes we have to be open.
Oh, yeah.
Because we live in a society that is so politically correct. So we want to dance around everything. All this and that. Sometimes you just got to just come straight, like I say, straight to it. Not straight, straight.
Straight to it.
Yeah.
Straight from the streets.
Look,
Yeah.
look, you be amazed as to how many people are with somebody because they don't want to hurt their feelings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't want to hurt
fair.
their feelings, and so you wasting people's time,
Right.
And your own.
and your own.
Yeah.
You know, look, you think of it like a job, right? Would you like the job who intends to fire you to take their time and fire you slow? Well, I'm thinking about it. In about 6 months, we're gonna let you go.
One more time. Yeah.
Look, they know right then that they need to let you go.
Right.
And they say, we'll just
Because
wait.
nobody likes confrontation.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be in the middle of no fight, no issues, and that's why politically this last political season, all the gloves were taken off on both sides. I'm not going to on both sides, and the sin is the spin. So I can take make a position and take pro or take con, whatever, and just ride it all the way to the end. Well, that's where relationships have gone now, to the point where I'm afraid to say anything, and so I'm going to make it look and seem like that I'm into this relationship, but knowing that well that you're not, and it's over.
Yeah.
But you keep going through it. You're going through the motions, and it just isn't true.
That's true, man.
Yes, absolutely, man. So look, as we wrap it up, I want you guys to share your final thoughts on this as well. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and audience, if y'all have enjoyed this conversation, I need y'all to hit that like button. I need you to hit the share button. I need you to share this with somebody. We're here now on these Mondays. I bring my guys, men I connect with, and it's getting better and better. I love how we have these conversations because it's very rare. Listen, fellas. There's a woman who's watching here right now. She didn't grow up with a father. She didn't have uncles. Didn't have any kind of male influence in her life to help guide her on good decision making when it came to relationships.
Yeah.
All right. So as you guys give us your final words, I want you to speak to that young woman from your heart. Share your thoughts, and then let us know how we can follow you and connect from there.
All right. I'll go first because I'm pretty sure the OG's gonna have something real great to end this off with. Words of wisdom. But I'll say this. A lot of females sometimes, well, not a lot, but I'll say you've been influenced by your circle. That's the friends that you have. That's the family members that you have. My dad used to say this: you sit in the barbershop long enough, you get a haircut. And it's real simple. It's like, okay, you sit around the right type of people, you'll do the things that they're doing. So a lot of females have the amen corner of girls that are bringing in the fatherless roles, or even the hurt that they have into your circle, and now you're being influenced by it. So that's one thing that I would say change, because I've seen it so many times, and it's so hard to talk to some females because it's almost like, God Almighty, who hurt you? Now I'll say this: last week, we were doing this event. KT said to somebody, I can't think exactly what your words were. Basically, it's like he felt the hurt and he automatically put on the Love Doctor hat. And I'm listening to him. It's like, bro, that's so dope. Like how you just pulled that off. But it's so interesting when you have those people that you can feel the hurt in them. It is the most unattractive thing, but it's also the most interesting thing, because you really want to know what the story is. So I'll say this. It's okay to be vulnerable, but sometimes understand, if you're working through some of those hurts and through those pains, don't always put them out there to people, because now a guy especially is going to look at that and be like, oh my God, it's like, dude, I just left this type of relationship. Now I got to deal with you all over again in another form. So I would say that. But as far as when it comes to, like I said, your influences, make sure that is important. But if that's that one sister that's out there listening, I would definitely say keep going. I know it sounds crazy, it sounds cliche-ish, but sometimes keep going to the sense that okay, it's time to walk out, or keep going to know that, okay, he may be getting himself together, but I need to give him a little bit more time so he can move forward, or either I can move forward with him, or he can get what he needs to get done in his life. So with that being said, those are probably the major things that I have as far as words of wisdom, if you will. And worst case scenario, if you go out with him, he looks bad, you can always follow me at bigmanculture.com, and we can get him dressed up really nice, at least make him look good, smell good while he's out there. But shameless plug, but I made it happen. But yeah, that's where you can find me on every social media platform, bigmanculture.com. As I tell people, when it comes to custom clothing, my tape measure matches every man, so it doesn't make a difference. He didn't have to be a big guy to come my way, but again, hey, I'm a big guy, so I try to focus on those guys that need the same help that I need. So yeah, follow me there. If you got any issues, concerns, questions, you can also hit me there as well. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, all of the same thing. Big Man Culture.
All right, Mike.
Yeah,
wow, Mike, you do Snapchat?
I actually do, man. Well, I got nieces and nephews, man, that I was like, I got to follow them. But then I started playing around with it a lot of times. It's like, okay, this is pretty cool, man. So yeah, I do Snapchat too. Yeah.
Hey, rock with it. Rock with
yes,
it.
sir.
Gotta rock with me.
Right.
When it comes to social media, I use the lift method, and that's LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And those four will take you to levels of understanding. We live in an invisible village, and as a girl dad, I've taught my girls. As a matter of fact, I dedicated a book to them that I wrote a couple of years ago called "You Are Extraordinary." It's the story of Edgar, and he was on a farm, and his dad told him that he could go and play once he had collected all the eggs. So there was an eagle's nest, and there was a hen's nest, and there was a swan's nest, and there was a duck's nest. So he had to gather all the eggs. So one day he decided to become very creative and petty. So he took and shifted the chicken egg to the eagle's nest, the eagle's egg to the chicken's nest, the swan's egg to the duck's nest, and the duck's egg to the swan's nest. So they all grew up, hatched and grew up, and the chicken thought it was super chicken. This chicken tried to fly, hunt his own food. This chicken was not scared of nothing. The eagle, on the other hand, was scratching, trying to, get a little something to eat, was waiting for somebody to feed him, and had the power and the potential to fly and do exploits. But instead, it was a grounded eagle and was trying to be a chicken and thought it was a chicken. The duck, on the other hand, was diva duck. This duck thought she was gorgeous, and she walked around with her head held high, and she was beautiful. The swan, on the other hand, thought that it was ugly, that it was just big and fat and ungainly. When they were put back into their environments, the chicken became the leader of the whole chicken coop. It tried to fly, was hunting its own food, and it ran things. The eagle, on the other hand, almost died because it was emaciated and it wouldn't fly and take care of its own self. The duck walked around and nobody could tell it anything, but that swan walked around with a defeated attitude. And that's how we are in life and in relationships, based on our environment, our experiences, the expertise we gain, and the education that we find. And ladies, I would just say this. If you find yourself in a relationship, you want to look and see, are you dating a chicken, an eagle? Is this a swan or a duck? Or and what environment did they come out of, and where were they nurtured at? Nature brought them into the world, but nurture caused them to be a certain way and to look at things a certain way. And you can become a super chicken, or you can stay a grounded eagle. You can become a diva duck, or you can become a selfless swan that doesn't even understand the value and the beauty that they possess. So when you find yourself in that relationship, set boundaries. Make sure that you operate from discernment and that you yourself are a thick chick, that you have trust, that you have honesty, integrity, that you have character, and that you have the right knowledge. And with that, you can go far. I'm Dr. John L. Mack, and I will be back. You can reach me on all social media at AskJMack. And most importantly, you can go to my website at getpublishedsuccessfully.com. Appreciate you. Hey, I love this show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Gentlemen, thank you so much for this. I really appreciate y'all coming. And so I want you guys to hold on back there. I sent y'all to the green room for a minute. But when I was a kid, I used to watch this cartoon, right? And there was this skunk, and his name was Pepe Le Pew, right? Now, Pepe Le Pew, y'all remember, if y'all watched cartoons back in the day, Pepe Le Pew had this one thing that he really wanted, and that was to be a cat. He even painted himself to look like a cat. And he was so much into being a cat, he had this one cat he really wanted to get next to. And so he just went up to this cat and was like, "Hello, mon chéri." Y'all remember that? You are so beautiful. Right? And he just wanted to kiss the cat. And the cat was like, "Wow, I'm being kissed." Like the cat was like, "Okay, this feels wonderful." And then the cat was like, with that look like, "What is that smell?" Right? And when the cat realized, this is not another cat. This is not a male cat. This is a skunk. And he stinks. Right? Look, just because a person looks like it, shows up like it, makes you feel like it, that doesn't mean that they are the one. They might just look the part and doing the things that make it seem like they're the part, but they're not the real thing. A few steps away, Pepe Le Pew after he's all painted himself to look like a cat, he made a mistake and walked through the sprinklers. And not only his smell gave away his position, but he became more of himself because of the elements that were around him. So I want to tell somebody, you got to watch the fakes before you get to the real. Sometimes you got to go through the fakes before you get to the real, but your nose always knows. All right. Your nose always knows. You guys, look, thank y'all so much for being here with me today. If you stayed this long, I got a gift for you. Jump in the mini course. Check out the mini course. FindingTheOne.club is where it is. FindingTheOne.club is the place to get the mini course. If you want to connect with me, you can connect with me at lovecoachatlanta@gmail.com. If you got an idea for a show, if you have, if you need a one-on-one love coach session, you can apply there. We can help you get going with there, and we'd love to connect with you in the future. So we got more of these shows coming. If y'all loving this, if y'all liking this, if y'all feeling this, make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, and meet us here again next Monday. Till next time, peace and love. Peace.